use my own indigenous language, which is Shona, which is largely spoken here in Zimbabwe. So the meeting is being hosted here at the HICC, where the Alaf Black People offices is. Yes. So let us pray. Kadinamate Mwari Baba totenda nechipo choupenyu chamunotipazowaniswa. Tauya pamberi pechigaro chenyu Mwari dai mukatitungamirira. Zvese zvachataura nezvatichaita zvigova zvinofamba zvakanaka. Tenzi wangu chivai nesu neino musangano uno watiri kuita. Muve munokomborera newese aisa nguva yake kuti ave anokwanisa kutijoina. Maspeakers edu tenzi wangu nomaisa maoko enyu. Tanamata zvese tenzi ndosami nembirenga vasingaperi. Amen. Yes, thank you. I can see we still have low numbers. We're only 15 on this meeting, whilst you are more than 800K people on our nation. So we'll make sure that we share this live meeting with our friends and family. Yes. Yeah, so you can introduce yourself in the chat room. Just say your name and where you are joining us from, and whether I'm a member or an ambassador of Alaf Black People. I can thank you. I can see people are also introducing themselves via the Facebook Live. Welcome you all. Yeah, so today's lineup looks like this: at 10:30 EST, that is 5:30 Central African time. Our speaker will be a guest speaker from Haiti. His name is Mr. Ralph Chevry. He will be speaking today, updating us on the current situation of what's going on in Haiti and the challenges they are facing as well as Black people. He will be on with us today. And also after that, we're going to have the Pan-African Healthcare Lecture with Nana Akua. She will be teaching a new syllabus has been shared. So if you are not in any of those groups which where the syllabus was shared, you can also drop your phone number so that we can add you to the healthcare lecture where syllabus and reading materials are constantly shared with Nana Kua. And after that, we're going to have Dr. Tyrone Wright. She's a professor at the City of New York University in the United States of America. She's the one who led this Pan-African History and Organizing class. So she will teach us the new syllabus again is being shared. So to those who haven't get hold of the syllabus, let me know. Again, I can see there were low numbers of people who purchased for the certificate. I kindly purchased the certificate in support of the Alaf Black People. The certificate cost only $15. It's a once-off payment certificate. Then it can be delivered to you via email or WhatsApp as a PDF so that you can be able to photocopy or print, or you will be able to print it out. So to those who haven't grabbed their tickets for the Pan-African participation, Pan-African history, certificate of completion, kindly do so. The links are going to be shared also here. So to those who want to purchase the certificate, the links will be shared. You can also advise on what method of payment you are comfortable with. We all do have PayPal. You can pay via Visa and also World Remit, MoneyGram. You can also do that. So those who are in Zimbabwe, you can just come and purchase the certificates via the Alaf Black People offices. It's in the Central Business District in Harare at the HICC Rainbow Towers Hotel. You can just request to see us or to come to our office. The information desk will assist you so that they can give you directions to our office, which is office number 6 at the Harare International Conference Center. So feel free to come in and purchase certificates and other merchandisers, which we do as Alaf Black People. Yeah, so those are the announcements which we're making. And also we're still recruiting moderators and also social media managers. So if you think you do have experience, kindly apply so that you'll be paid through that. Yes, I can see Colin Zadeo was asking if Nana Akua does not post health materials in the Alaf Black People WhatsApp group for health. We will notify her and we'll make sure that she does post all that reading materials. yeah, we definitely do ask you to do that. Yes, so to start off the meeting, let's jump off all the way to Namibia, where our sister, Natalia Faith Kandara is. So that, again, congratulations today. She graduated. Congratulations on behalf of the Love People family. Yes, Natalia, you can unmute. Yes, Yvonne, can you unmute Sister Natalia?
Yes, she can unmute herself.
Yes, Sister Natalia, you can unmute yourself.
All right. Good afternoon. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can hear you. Again, congratulations. I know that today you are very happy. You just graduated.
Thank you very much. And please bear with my voice. I think is the excitement. Okay.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to present for the one I missed last Saturday, right? Ubuntu and Unity in Africa.
Yes.
I greet all the founders, co-founders, ambassadors, members, and everyone on Pan-African Zoom call today. My name is Natalia from Namibia, and I quickly want to update you on a healthy update in Namibia. We have COVID-19, which is picking up, and then swine flu dropped, and monkeypox is also dropped. But for those who want to travel to Namibia, they have to make sure they boost up their immune systems because it's picking up. We don't know how, but it's coming up and it's increasing fast. All right, let's start with our Ubuntu and Unity in Africa. Ubuntu is an Azanate Africa word that means humanity to others. It is often described as to remind us that I am what I am because of who we all are. Because of who we are all. Okay, sorry for that. As a Black person, I personally feel about my fellow Ubuntu people. We unite together as we are all readed by golden rules, such as interpersonal values and environmental values. One describes this unity as our strength and diversity is our power. We strive together and unite together. We are only weak as we divide. Sorry guys for my voice. I practice Ubuntu in my life by saving humanity, hoping and embracing diversity and considering forgiveness. Our unity must be rooted in our continent by loving and protecting each other. And our unity must stand and severe strain without breaking. This is the most thing that we need as Ubuntu people. A few years ago, Black people in a new world were discriminated against, what did I write here? And were denied equal rights with European peoples as a result of Dr. Edward Baldwin from the West Indies, was the first person to use the term African personality that promoted a feeling of unity among his people of Africa descent. He believed that discrimination could be defeated if all Black people stood together and present a united front to the world. He also emphasized that human dignity of Black people all over the world had to be restored, and Black people would be able to successfully rule in Africa. And then we have also the second person we talk about. On top of that, Max Crevy from Jamaica drives strong slogan that states Africa for Africans. It was a tailor-made for the dreams of Africans struggling under the burden of colonialism. He did not personally visit Africa, but his ideas for Africans rather than on the types of blind narrows. He also emphasized the need to avoid racism and xenophobia at all costs. As a Black people, we need to unite and embrace our diversity, not because we were born in Africa, but because Africa was born in us. So therefore, I'm encouraging Ubuntu people, not only Ubuntu people, everyone to unite, and together we can fight racism and xenophobia. And I would also love to encourage our brothers and sisters to share I Love Black People apps or any safe places wherever we are in the world. I am because we are. Natalia reporting from Namibia.
I am because we are. Thank you so much, Ambassador Natalia, for giving us an update and also presenting the report, which you could represent last time, that was last week. We appreciate you for all the effort which you are doing, spreading the I Love Black People Safe Places app in all the places in Namibia and outside the borders of Namibia as well, to friends and family. We do appreciate that. And also to those who have downloaded the application, kindly do so. That's our own digital green book, whereby we are using it to share or recommend safe places for Black people globally. So kindly download our app, which is I Love Black People Safe Places app, so that you can be able to share real-time places wherever you are. You can be able to share place. If you have a personal experience with it, you can share it. The links have been shared to download the application in the chat room. And also those who are on Facebook, you can find the links on the description. And again, we're going to share the links to download for you to purchase the certificates. You need to do a once-off payment of the certificate. So the links are going to be shared in the chat room as well for those who haven't paid yet for the certificates, for the Pan-African certificate of completion. You need to have that, and it has its benefits for you to enhance your life well, and also it will be added to your CVs as well. So you need to grab that certificate. So without wasting time, let's cross over all the way to Haiti, where our brother Ralph P. Chevry is. Yes, brother Ralph, how are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you. Well, it's morning for me. I don't know what time it is for you, but good morning, everyone.
All right, good morning. It's evening to us. Some are in the afternoon, but good day. It's wonderful to have you on our Pan-African Zoom meeting.
Thank you very much. I joined a bit late because we're having electricity issues. The electricity hasn't been very clement to us the past few months. We have had very few. It's very difficult, but thank you for having me on.
All right, so you can go ahead, introduce yourself, and also talk to us. Thank you.
Well, I'm Ralph Chevry. I have a question before I do say anything. I heard the word Ubuntu. Could anyone tell me how it is spelled, please? I heard what Nadia was saying. I'm very interested in what she was saying. I'd like to know how it is spelled, the Ubuntu.
It's U-B-U-N-T-U, Ubuntu. That's how it's spelled. It's been sent in the chat room, the spelling for the Ubuntu.
Okay, I'll look for it. Thank you very much. That was very, very interesting. I like that word. It makes a lot of sense. Okay, I'm Ralph Chevry. I live in Haiti. I'm an entrepreneur, semi-retired, but still pretty involved. I'm also on the board of a think tank for economic development. It's called HACCP, Haiti for Economic Development. I'm also a member of Haiti Pathway Network. That's a program that we've started. It's based out of Washington, D.C., and we are trying to see how we can change international policy towards Haiti. That's one of the things that I'm doing these days. We feel that Haiti is being discriminated against. Well, we know this has been going on since we got our independence, and we're trying to keep, especially the United States, from using, I would say, inner dealings rather than having a clear policy. They say that we are friends, but we don't see a policy of friendship. It's basically inner dealings, and that doesn't work in our favor. It's very difficult right now. Haiti has been under the thumb of the international community. To kind of share with you what is going on, as many of you may know or may not know, the Haitian president was assassinated about 17 months ago. We've had an interim government. The present prime minister was actually appointed by the US, which with a simple tweet, they made him president. Although he was named prime minister before the president was assassinated, but legally or constitutionally to be prime minister, you have to go through certain steps through Congress. Because we have no Congress, he was supposed to hold elections 90 days. He did not, so he's still in power. There is not one Haitian outside of the circle of the prime minister that doesn't want him out. He's totally has done nothing, just sat there. We're having murders, people being kidnapped, killed. It's really bad. We've never seen it so much. The gangs are running the country right now. It's documented that we have about 160,000 heavy weapons in Haiti. They've estimated the kind of guns up to $2 billion of weapons that are going around in the country. All of it coming from the United States. We have the military. There is an embargo on our armed forces, which means our armed forces cannot get any guns, cannot get weapons, and the United States has been keeping them from getting that. It's because of a bill that was introduced in Congress. So you can imagine as the gangs, criminals are getting guns, being trafficked in, our military cannot. So it's a really difficult situation. We don't hardly have any electricity. The present prime minister increased fuel by 124%. While everything is shut down, nobody's working, nothing is being done. They increased the fuel. Life is expensive. We have a 30% inflation. It's actually hyperinflation. So we could say that Haiti is going through what one would call stagflation, because as of inflation is hyper, but there's also no job being created. There are no jobs. So that's stagflation, and that's really the perfect storm for an explosive economy, one that is about to implode, we would say. It has imploded. So it's very difficult. No electricity because there was no fuel. And up to a few weeks ago, the fuel distribution area the fuel distribution was shut down by a gang leader who's called Barbecue. They blocked the fuel distribution, so we couldn't get any fuel. We did not get it until just recently, apparently. The police went in and dislodged them. So we do have some fuel, but it's extremely expensive. It's a very difficult situation. I've never seen Haiti as bad as this. It's really a tough situation. There are negotiations between the private sector and the interim prime minister. It's been going on. We're still not getting solutions. The United States is really, they've really done us a lot of damage. They are talking about sending troops to Haiti. President Biden said he doesn't want to send American boots in Haiti. So Canada has volunteered to take over this. They're concerned because a lot of people don't want troops. People such as I think we need help, but not in the form of troops. I think there's so much technology out there that can help you with drones, with all kinds of assistance. And first of all, we'll, stop removing this embargo. Let us deal with it. We can get some support, some training, some stuff like that with equipment. A lot of us don't think we need troops. So as it stands, Haiti is at a stance. Haiti is suffering.
All right, I think
there's just so much to say. There's really so much to say, but nothing to say. But this has been going on since our independence, since 1804. Haiti suffered an embargo 60 years after its independence, which destroyed its economy. And we also had another embargo. You can imagine imposing an embargo on the poorest country on the Western Hemisphere. Migrated to the US. that live in the Dominican Republic are being also set back. And it's just that this pressure. They don't want this prime minister. The international community, which is mainly the United States, Canada, and the European community, say they want this prime minister. Despite the fact that this guy has done nothing, people are dying, gangs have taken over the streets. You can go out right. Like, gangs are not equipped to deal with gangs. Dominican Republic has 150,000. Okay, that's our next door neighbor. So despite the fact that we don't have enough police force, they're ill-equipped. The gangs themselves, they're well armed, better armed than the police, and certainly more motivated. Okay, even the police sometimes have not been getting paid. It's a total mess. Haiti really, we need to resolve the situation, but the international community needs to stop what they're doing. Haiti is like this, not because of us. It's because of policies. People don't know this, but everything that has happened in Haiti, everything that has happened in Haiti past, at least the past since '85, has been foreign policy. No decision has really been made by us. The last president, Michel Martelly, who was president before Jovenel, was actually appointed by the international community. We had the president of the Electoral Council said that that was not their choice. The choice was imposed at that time by Hillary Clinton. This was right after the embargo. It's a very difficult situation. That's all I can say. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But generally, it's chaos. It's bleak. It's a dark time in our history. It's a very difficult time, but we hope to overcome it with the support of the international, with the support of the Haitians, the diaspora, the African American diaspora, the African diaspora, that can assist by making noise. This is unfair. The United States is spending billions of dollars in Ukraine, and in Haiti we're getting nothing. Although we don't want anything, we just want them to stop what they're doing. Well, Haitians don't really we don't want financial support. We just want them to stop what they're doing, stop discriminating. All of the funds, all of the politicians that steal the money, they take it right to the United States. We just want that money back. We want them to stop doing that. So if there's any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, so if you do have any questions, you can write in the chat room so that we can ask our brother, Ralph, who just highlighted us on what's on the ground in Haiti. Thank you again, brother, for giving us a quick update on what's going on to our other fellow Black people around in Haiti. We do appreciate that, and hopefully all will be solved very soon, and you enjoy your festive season in peace, with love. And yes, I can see there are no questions. If you do have any questions, kindly come through and ask through the chat room whilst brother Ralph is still on with us. Right, I think we didn't have any questions. Also, I'd like to extend our deepest condolences to one of our ambassadors' grandmother. She just left. She just died today. For the ambassador, our ambassador in Namibia. That's why she couldn't join us to present today. Ambassador Anna Negola, her grandmom, died today. So our deepest condolences to them, and also other speakers. They couldn't join due to network issues. Some have no electricity at the moment, so they couldn't join as well. I'm going to read out the report, which was compiled by our brother Ifesnachi, all the way from Nigeria, so that we can get a deeper understanding about the Ubuntu and the spirit of unity. That's what I'm going to read on his behalf. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are. Sorry, before I go on, I think there was a question. The question is directed to our brother Ralph. The question says, I would like to ask if Haiti, they have a president currently. I think that one, brother Ralph can answer that one.
Yes, I can. No, we don't have a president currently. We have a de facto prime minister. We don't have a president. No, we don't. Actually, we don't have. We only. Except for 7 members of the Senate that are constitutionally still here until January of next year. So we don't have a president. We don't have a Congress, we don't have a Senate. We only have a de facto prime minister.
All right, thank you. I hope Dushime, you answered well by brother Ralph Chevry. I thank you for answering that. And hopefully you have a peaceful constitution next year. And by January, you got to vote in peaceful as well. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, Jess. All right, so I'll go on to read the report on behalf of our brother Ifesnach, who couldn't join due to electricity issues all over Nigeria. So I'm Ifesnach Uroko, a country speaker representative of Nigeria. My greetings to everyone on board on this meeting. The theme for discussion today is unity and the spirit of Ubuntu. My views based on the archiving true unity, not political unity, which does not last. Unity is a way it can be said to mean oneness, togetherness, unification within and without. Unity, as we know, is very vital in our lives. This is true because it is when you are united within yourself that you'll be able to unite with others. But if you're not united within yourself, then you live a life of chaos, which results to no unity with everybody. If you are not united within, then you will live unplanned life, you will live a life of no direction, you will live based on what the day brings, not based on what your plans, and any individual that lives based on what the day brings is actually baseless. So as we can see, we cannot discuss micro unity without discussing macro unity first. It is until we have unity in the macro level, such as individual unity, family unity, community unity, before you can talk of unity in the macro level, such as state unity, national unity, continental unity, and international unity. So I think in achieving unity as a people, we must look at it based on how we can achieve unity as an individual. Then our family unity between the father, the mother, and the children, then community unity, and the cycle continues. The truth is that we cannot actually achieve unity without the right spiritual process. We cannot achieve unity, be it individual or community unity, without being in the right consciousness, and one cannot attain right consciousness without being rightly spiritual. So as a Christian guy that I am, I think for me to achieve individual unity, I must first and foremost unite myself with God, and in so doing, God will reward me with the love, compassion, tolerance, care, and humanism, which these are things mentioned above are traits of the Christian Holy Spirit. You know, being spiritually or godly doesn't mean you must be a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Hinduist, a pagan can be godly, likewise a traditionalist. What is important is not our spiritual inclination, but practicing our faith in the right consciousness, which Christians call Christ consciousness. So when I'm saying in sense of that of us, for us as people to be united with other in the outside, we must be united with the source of all things in the inside, especially as they say that one with God is with majority. So as I tell you that if all women are rightly having a relationship with God, then subsequently we will have a robust relationship with one another, since all are connected within the source in the inside. But if all of us are connected in different gods or forces, as in the case now, then we continue to trade with the path of disaster, chaos, selfishness, and hate. racism, xenophobia, and all bad things that comes with wrong consciousness or no consciousness at all. So again, I say for Africa to be united as we want, we must look back and within ourselves to know if you are building in the right spirituality, to know if what works for A will work for B, to know if what they recommended for us is truly meant for us. And in such a way, Africa will find a way to be united in the inside and will definitely be united in the outside if united in the inside. So as we can see, we cannot discuss unity without the right spirituality, and it is 100% correct if you are a believer that the spiritual controls the physical. Then Ubuntu being a Ngumi Bantu term, meaning humanism or humanity, cannot be achieved without being in the right consciousness. And that's why Desmond Tutu theologized the Ubuntu philosophy in relation to God and in the image, suggesting that Ubuntu can easily be achieved in union with God since we all created in God's image: love, compassion, care, and humanism, etc. Or the trait of the spirit of Ubuntu, but in reality, you can only exhibit these characters when you are truly united. I have likened Ubuntu to be a native term for Christians' golden rule that we should love one neighbors as we love ourselves, as we know that this religious Marxism is found in religions across the globe. It is in Islam, it is found in Hinduism, Judaism, Buddhism, Shinto, and hence in Africa traditional religions as Ubuntu. So my fellow Black brothers and sisters, I must tell you that we have all the things that need under our foot, but we are busy looking upwards without realizing that you cannot climb a tree without starting from the root. We can achieve unity and the spirit of Ubuntu if we put our heads together and start from our roots, which is our foundation. I'll stop here for the sake of time, and because we are Ifesnachi from Enugu State, Nigeria. So this is award speaking on behalf of our brother Ifesnachi, who couldn't join due to electricity and network challenges which he was facing in Nigeria. Yeah, so that was the report for our fellow brother, and also our brother Pombila from Ghana couldn't join today. So, but he did send through his speech. So definitely next week we'll make sure that he will be the first to present for this report. So I cannot read it due to our time. So without wasting time, we're going to cross over to Nana Akua to learn more about the OK lecture. So if you would like to receive a shout out from Nana Akua, kindly turn your camera on so that Nana Akua can see the happy African Black face all over the world. I can see people, you can turn on all your cameras. I can see most of you have disabled the cameras. So you can turn them on. And also, if you haven't purchased the certificate, as I said, kindly do so, so that it will be shared to you, and also you get a chance to be put on our website. There's a list of people who have the certificates, so check out our website as well, alafpeople.com. And also to those who participated by giving us feedback on the Pan-African universities, African universities, which are largely led by the indigenous Pan-African lecturers. Thank you again. We appreciate all of you. So without wasting time, we're crossing over to Nana Akua. Yes, Nana Akua, welcome to the Pan-African lecture.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, good day, good evening, everyone. Hello, Anthony and Bruce and Yvonne and Award. How are you all doing? Great to see your faces. I hope everyone is well. So we are at the beginning of our series. Oh, Mubanga. All right, thank you all for cutting on your cameras. I appreciate you. So we are in our first session, and I tried to have the slide pulled up already, so hopefully it worked. Maybe not. I tried to open it. I don't know why it's not there. Everything else is there that I'm not trying to show. Let me try again. Maybe I should leave that up on the screen. And let's see what happens if I try. Natalia, I see you. Good afternoon. Oh, there it is. Great. Okay. Okay, I think you can see where we have our syllabus listed here. This just gives you an overview of what the series is. And I probably still have it broken down into 6 weeks. We've changed this course in terms of time, so therefore the number of sessions. So we're currently doing 8 sessions, but basically the purpose is to assist the student in taking control of their health and healing. We highlight various natural and over-the-counter remedies, whether it's herbs, homeopathic remedies, vitamins, essential oils, things of that nature that will assist in maintaining or regaining health. The student will also learn to boost immunity and relieve daily stressors, and the means in which to do that historically. We'll talk about a natural medicine chest. We'll talk about a self-healing plan or self-care plan. We'll talk about common health concerns and complaints, and then the natural traditional remedies that have been used for those things. And we may discuss these natural remedies in the forms of teas, tinctures, herbal baths, aromatherapy, touch therapy, other alternative or natural healing modalities. And basically the objective is to promote self-love and empowerment through self-healing and dis-ease prevention, right? So we want to empower you. We want to give you the information that is needed to heal yourselves, your family, your community, and ultimately the world. But this is, of course, for information purposes only, for educational purposes. And so I'm simply highlighting how different herbs and natural substances have been historically used. We know that for thousands of years, this is what has happened and what has been used by indigenous people throughout the world. Natural plants that God created, and that different groups of people have used throughout the centuries to heal and bring the body back into balance. And so the goal here is just to share some of that information. So this week, we're going to talk about some of the natural healing modalities, what the holistic approach is, different types of nutrition, and food combining. You'll see, again, I have it broken down on this syllabus in 6 parts. We are currently operating at 8 parts, but we'll adjust it accordingly. I did kind of rescan in the lessons to divide them into 8 parts. I think we've done 4, we've done 6, and now we're at 8. But we've just adjusted, trying to figure what's the best for the group. I think we used to do, and I'm even losing track, and Yvonne can probably give me more. I don't know if we used to do 2 hours or were we always just doing 1, and now we're down to a half hour, but it was a very long time to be on line. And I know some people didn't have the ability to stay online or to use that many credits or that much data to stay on the call. So we have shortened it bit by bit over these last couple of years. So this syllabus just wasn't adjusted to the latest time frame of 8 sessions. But basically the picture graph here, or the word graph, I should say, just kind of gives you some ideas of the different components of holistic health. We may include emotions or exercise or hope or faith or herbs or balance or minerals or vitamins. fruits, you know, scientific or even supernatural means to regain health, but it can include these things and more. Food, diet, all of these are aspects or components of holistic health. And we know that holistic medicine is basically the form or a form of healing that considers the whole person. So holistic, the whole person, mind, body, spirit, and in some definitions, you'll even have the inclusion of emotions. But basically, this is what is necessary to achieve optimal health. We know that we have to look at the entire person, not just the symptoms, and not just the physical, but all aspects that affect one's health and well-being. We know that there are different holistic healing principles. I will not go through all of these. I do think they're all important. I think it's good to read over these and get an idea of really what we should look at when we're talking about healing holistically. We know that we want to achieve optimal health, and we know, though, that that encompasses the entire person. Not just am I physically strong, but am I emotionally strong? Am I mentally strong? Is my spirit strong? We know that we have to deal with all of these aspects. We know that the entire person has to be seen and viewed as a unit. We know that the body has an innate power to heal. And so sometimes it's just a matter of bringing the body back into balance so that it can do what it does. We know that we have to have a healer or doctor, practitioner that will listen to you, that will do an individualized approach, not treat everyone the same. Not all conditions, illnesses, ailments are the same on every person. So you have to find someone who will listen to you, someone who will teach you how to heal yourself, someone that will get feedback from you as to what's normal for you, what your symptoms are, what your lifestyle is, and incorporating that into your wellness plan. And basically using every opportunity that you go through in our life cycle, right, to deal with our healthcare plan, our health needs. There are different rites or rituals that we go through. Everything changes from birth to adolescence to adulthood to elderhood. There are all these different stages, and then all of these different transitions that we may go through, whether it's puberty, whether it's starting a new job, whether it's ending a relationship, whether it's being independent, whether it's going back to being dependent on someone. So there are all sorts of phases and stages that we'll go through in life, and all of these things will impact our health and our well-being. Some of the modalities that fall under alternative therapies or holistic health, there are different terms that are used. Some people will say folk medicine, herbal medicine, traditional healing, music therapy, naturopathy, acupuncture, chiropractic, faith healing. Some aspects include massage, acupuncture, chiropractic, exercise therapy, music therapy. So there are different therapies included under this large umbrella. And I always like to include the Sangoma here, who is a traditional healer. We know that there are many traditionalists who do healing work, not only for the spirit, but also for the mind, the body, the soul, balancing emotions. And what's always important for me here is this wealth of knowledge that one must have, right? To have all of these healing herbs on the shelf, right? And so sometimes to get to the point of knowing what to recommend or what to suggest for someone, there may be certain rituals involved in doing that, which is just one example of what may be going on here in this picture with the Sangoma. But we know that in the different areas where we reside, there may be access to certain herbs. There may be there may not be the ability to access other herbs. So you always want to go to your local healer for what is native to your area, so that you will be able to obtain what healing herbs may exist in your area. I'll just highlight these couple of principles here at the top. This first one says, I am responsible for my own health and well-being, right? That's important. And it's pretty empowering, I think, right? You have to take responsibility and you're in charge. A lot of times we feel helpless and hopeless when we become out of alignment or ill or sick. I usually don't say the word sick, but we usually feel powerless. And so being able to take that power back and know that there is some control that is in your hands, I think that that's healing in and of itself. 2 is all people have innate healing powers, right? Sort of what I just stated. 3, the patient is a person, not a disease. And 4, treatment is finding and fixing the cause of the condition, not just alleviating the symptoms. Right? And we know the healing always affects an entire spectrum, right? We can make changes to many different things, our diet, our emotional and mental well-being, how we adapt to different stressors, and environmental changes. We all have to include these things in our healing approach. So as you see here, they've listed some of those aspects: diet, detox, fasting, foods to avoid, things of that nature. In some parts of the world, there is focus on the chakras or different meridians that help to align everything in the body, control the flow of energy, which assist in healing of the different organs and body systems. We know that the vibration of an area of an individual, of the people that you're around, can either promote or decrease your ability to heal. Energy is important, vibration is important. So all of these play a role in your healing. So those are just some aspects in general about holistic healing. So let's get into some aspects of nutrition. So this is a very abbreviated version and discussion about nutrition, but I felt it was important to just get a basic understanding of some of the aspects of nutrition. Because we know that food is medicine. We know that a lot of our problems are caused by what we eat. And if you were here last week, we talked about what traditional healers or holistic healers consider as the 2 causes of illness, of disease, right? One is malnutrition, right? The absence of foods that are healing, of life-giving foods, foods that include nutrients that your body needs to function properly, right? So malnutrition is one cause of disease. The other is toxicity. That is meaning the presence of toxins, things that are not good for the body, things that are not life-giving or life-sustaining, things that need to be voided from the body. So either toxicity or malnutrition, one or the other or a combination of both is usually going to be why you are not well. So let's talk about giving the body proper nutrition. So what are nutrients? Nutrients are substances found in food that provide nourishment to our bodies. There are 6 main types of nutrients: carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about each of these. So let's talk about carbohydrates and proteins and fats. So we know that proteins are usually what's found in our meat, our, well, not necessarily, because we know that they're plant-based proteins, but usually we find it in, or most easily find it in beef, pork, chicken, game, wild meats, fish, seafood, eggs, soybeans, and other legumes, right? But we also know that it can be found in different plants and vegetable based. We know that amino acids are the building blocks of protein, and that is what is needed for growth, development, and repair, right? And we have to have this protein to provide structure for our muscles, our bones, to help our tissue repair itself and help our immune system fight off inflammation and infection, right? So proteins, very important. Some of the handouts that I have following here, we'll talk about different sources of proteins, right? So we know that not all protein has to be obtained from your chicken, your tuna, your beef, eggs, things of that nature. We know that we can get it in spirulina and peanut butter and almonds and pumpkin seeds and quinoa and other vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, things of that nature, okay? So that's proteins. And there are several other handouts I have included in here about proteins, other ways to get proteins that some people may not think of. So if you're trying to reduce how much meat or flesh you consume, these handouts here will give you good options of plant-based proteins, okay? So let's go back up to carbohydrates. The main role of the carbohydrate is to provide energy and fuel the body, right? Much like gasoline fueling a car for it to operate. Carbohydrates is what fuels the body so that it can have enough energy to do the daily activities that we have to do, right? Walking, talking, moving, lifting, all the things that the body has to do. Even at rest, there's always work that is going on in the body. The body is a machine that's forever running, right? And it has different functions to perform, whether it's regulating the body temperature, whether it's digesting food, whether it's making the heart pump and circulating blood and oxygen through the body. There's always something going on in the body, right? So carbohydrates are crucial to allowing the body to have enough energy to do that work. We know that we find carbohydrates in foods like beans, corn, plantains, rice, potatoes, root vegetables, even fruits, different things like that, right? And so we know that carbohydrates are important, but the issue is let me see if I had a handout. I don't think I have another handout. The thing we have to remember about carbohydrates is that we want to, this would be a good place for me to have the glycemic index, but I do not, so forgive me. What we have to remember about carbohydrates is that we want those carbohydrates that are lower in calories and lower in its glycemic number. And if you've been here with us the last week or so, you know that we talked about the glycemic index. And that is a chart, an index that gives a number to tell us which foods are high, moderate, and low carb foods. And we know that certain foods like our root vegetables are going to be higher carbs, but our leafy green vegetables, our high fiber fruits, these are going to be better options for carbohydrates. We'll know that maybe corn-based products are going to be a little lower in terms of our tape, as opposed to, say, flour. So there are different types of carbohydrates that we can include in the diet to get the energy that we need. We just have to make sure that we are not spiking our blood sugar in the process of that. Let's talk about fats. So we know that fats and fats are also an essential nutrient. Again, this is a matter of choosing the right type of fats. Dietary fat, which is found in oils such as coconut, nuts, milk, cheese, meat, poultry, fish. These provide structure to the cells and it cushions membranes that help prevent damage to the body, right? We know that it's essential for fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A and K. And so it's important for the body to have the good fats, the essential fatty acids in the body, so that we can absorb the micronutrients, the different vitamins and minerals that we need for the body's parts to function. So we know that fats from, say, salmon or certain meaty fish like that, salmon's probably one of the best ones, or we know avocado, right? We know that these are good sources of fat. Coconut oil, we know, is a good source of our fats that we need for the body. We know that the fats that we would avoid are those such as trans fats or hydrogenated oils, fats that are put into foods that heat has been added to it, hydrogen has been added to it, and its only purpose is to lengthen the shelf life, right? It has been void of any natural dietary fats that is good for the body. So we want to avoid those foods that have fats that are saturated trans fats. We want good healthy oils. I'm not a supporter of soybean oil. We know that all over the world, but especially here, well, I wouldn't even say especially here, I'm sure all over the world, soybeans have been genetically modified, so they are void of any nutrients that they would have, and most likely the soil has been given harmful nutrients and has then made it void of any nutritional value. And we know that because they're mass producing it to make all of these soy products, and including soy oils or vegetable oils that are made from soy. Unless you are getting a soy-based product that specifically states it is non-GMO, non-genetically modified, right, is the only time you would want a soy-based product. I'm also not a fan of canola oil, which comes from the rapeseed that originated in Canada. You will find some health products that will contain canola oil. Not an oil that had been heavily used until recently. Many believe that it was a overgrown kind of waste product from Canada that they just started manufacturing and marketing to be a healthy alternative to some of the like soy-based oils and things like that. But you really want cold pressed or expeller pressed oils where they have not been heated and they've not had other components added to it to lengthen the shelf life. So that's my bit on fat. Let's move on to the micronutrients, vitamins and minerals. We know that vitamins aid in the energy production, wound healing, bone formation, immunity, and eye and skin health. We know that minerals are important for maintaining cardiovascular health and providing structure to the skeleton. So we know that there are an array of vitamins and minerals that are necessary for the body. We will go in detail next week about that, but I do have this chart here that kind of gives you a quick version of where you can find certain vitamins, right? So we know that vitamin A can be found in eggs and butter and papaya, liver, cabbage, carrots, right? The whole B vitamin family you see all listed here. B1, you know, can be found in potatoes and peas. B2 can be found in green vegetables and beef and chicken, milk, vitamin B, tomatoes, peanuts, bananas. B12, usually in your meat and egg and dairy products. We know that vitamin C can be found in, enlarge this a little bit. You all should be impressed that I can read this little bit of writing because I really can't. Pretty much looking at the pictures. But vitamin C can be found in tomatoes and guava and oranges and lemons and grapes. We know that vitamin D you'll find in your fish, your milk, cod liver oil, eggs, and of course, sunlight, right? And vitamin E, you'll find in bananas, green vegetables, eggs, almonds, wheat germ oil. Vitamin K, you know, you will find in tomatoes and spinach, turnips and lettuce, right? So this is just sort of an abbreviated chart with the some of the sources for some vitamins. We'll go into some more vitamins and minerals for next week, but let me skip down to, let's talk a little bit about, this is a little different from the traditional food pyramid that we learned decades ago, where we had this large section here that contained our breads and cereals and all of that. Well, we know that that should not be the bulk of our diet. So this raw food pyramid, and most people will not be a raw foodist per se, but I'd like you to just impress in your mind the concept of doing more plant-based foods and decreasing your intake of the high glycemic carbs like your cereals and breads and a lot of rice and pasta and things of that nature. Make your largest amount of food that you eat or consume in a day be leafy greens, be fruits and vegetables, adding in, you know, sprouts and legumes, then adding on top of that your nuts and seeds and flax and hemp, and then including every day your microgreens, your wheatgrass juice, your herbs, right? And then your sea vegetables, your seaweed, your dulse, your spirulina, your nutritional yeast, your chlorella. These are all high in mineral seafoods, green seafoods from the ocean. But kind of study this type of chart as opposed to just having heavy amounts of breads and cereals and rice and starches. And then as it pertains to fats, I did forget I had this handout here. There are basically fats that heal, and then there are fats that kill. So we know that, and I mentioned some of these earlier, better options for our fats are going to be coconut oil, which may not be on this list, but I'm going to add it, your hemp, your flax. I already said my spiel about soybeans. In an ideal world, soy is fine, but currently it's not the best option. Walnuts, seaweed, sunflower, sesame seeds, almonds, these are all good versions of fats that heal. Now we know that fats that kill are going to be things like your shortening, your margarine, your refined oils, your fats and oils from pork and dairy products, roasted nuts and seeds. With nuts and seeds, we always want raw, right? So we know when things have been roasted, there's been an oil component added to it. Usually roasted comes along with salted. So these are not going to be your best options when you are trying to get healthy fats into the body, right? So that is about fats. And then of course, when we're talking about getting good sources of minerals in the body, just to give you an overview of some good minerals, we talked briefly about some vitamin sources. Here are some good sources for minerals, right? And we know that this is going to give us alkaline foods. We know that we want alkaline forming foods as opposed to acid forming foods, because that's life-giving. That's going to increase your flexibility. It's going to hydrate the body. It's going to give it the nutrients that you need to function. As opposed to acid forming foods like your meats and butters and dairy, that's going to kind of dehydrate the body, make everything stiff, promotes things like your arthritis and your joint pain and things of that nature. But alkaline and minerals go together because you're always going to have high alkaline or alkalinity, I should say, in the body if you are doing a good amount of minerals. So for calcium, we know that spinach, broccoli, celery, kale, avocado, these are good sources of calcium. For magnesium, we know that almonds, flax seeds, dill, basil, these are all good options for magnesium. Iron, we know pumpkin seeds, kale, broccoli, quinoa, spinach are good sources of iron. For potassium, coconut water, avocados, kiwi, Brussels sprouts, tomatoes, figs. And then for manganese, cinnamon, garlic, thyme, chard, turmeric, collard greens, these are all good options for manganese, okay? And so I am out of time. I will stay on a couple of minutes to see if there were any questions or comments in the chat. Next week, we'll pick up on talking a little bit more about nutrients. We did not get to water. We will talk about water and give a little more detail about the vitamins and minerals that are needed for the body and what functions they serve, okay? So thank you for joining us as always. And as always, I bid you good health and peace.
Thank you so much, Nana Akua, for a wonderful lecture. Really, I do appreciate you. That was an introduction to our Pan-African Healthcare lecture with Nana Akua. We are going to share the links to join the group so that everyone can join as well. And also, if you are also not in any of our groups, kindly drop your number in the chat room. Those who are on Facebook, you can drop your phone numbers in the comment section so that I can be able to add you to our groups. Again, I can see today we had low numbers. We're starting a new session for these courses. Again, I appreciate those who joined. Without wasting time, we're going to have Professor Dr. Taryn Wright to teach us about Pan-African history and organizing class. Yes, I can see Dr. Taryn Wright is not yet with us. Yes, I can see she's not yet joined. Yvonne, did you contact Dr. Wright?
Yes, she's joining in 2 minutes.
All right, thank you. So again, to those who didn't purchase the certificate, kindly do so. And also, if you visit our iloveblackpeople.com, you can see these are bags. You should grab yours. They're just costing $5. So you should grab your bag and support the movement. And also, we also do have face masks. As you heard, the COVID-19 is not yet done with us. It's still among us. So you should get prepared. You should wear your masks as always. And also, we also do have T-shirts, which are branded I Love Black People. If you need it, you can also just raise your black fist in the chat room so that we can contact you regardless of for you to receive the T-shirts. And if there are any plans which need to be done, you can also do that.
I'm still here if you need me. You need time for the 10 minutes?
No,
I got it.
Yes.
No, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. You can go ahead.
So let me just answer a couple of things that's in the chat. That way I won't have to type it. So a newborn baby, dry skin. So always the best option for a newborn is going to be what the mother, hopefully if the mother is breastfeeding. But if it's a situation where the mother is not present or can't breastfeed, you just want to be mindful of what foods you're introducing into the baby. Those superfoods that I've talked about before. But if we're talking about a newborn, that if the mother is not breastfeeding, it probably will be limited to creams or soaps that are used. If the mother is breastfeeding, you received. Okay, you run an orphanage though, right, Natalia? So the mother is not present. Yeah, so that'll be difficult then right now until the baby gets some age, because then as the baby gets some age, what I would suggest is making a mild tea of some of the herbs we talked about, letting it cool and then serving it by the dropper full, just on the tongue. Because these are those issues that would be best served with, a nursing mother. But for now, you'll probably just have to use the creams. I think one of the other things was more so for the administrators, somebody's not getting mail. And I think Award put my email in the chat. So if you need the lecture information, then feel free. So then let me go ahead and talk about water. So we know that water is essential. We have to drink enough water. It is what hydrates us. We are 2/3 water, just as the earth is. So a lot of times it's all about water to cleanse, to hydrate, to flush out any toxins. We talked about the 2 causes of illness, right? Toxicity and malnutrition, right? So sometimes flushing the body with good amounts of water to cleanse is what's necessary. I'm not a big supporter of water fast, but in some cases where people have severe issues and they don't have like chronic health issues that would call for them to have nutrition through food every day, some cases it might be a good idea for a water fast. Or at the very least, for someone who doesn't do well with consuming enough water, it may be a matter of someone using one of their food meals as a liquid meal. You know, if you're not good at consuming enough water, you may have to employ whatever technique to get enough water into the body. I'm not a fan of adding any kind of like, here we have something called Crystal Light, or we have these flavored powdered things that we put into the water. But a lot of those contain artificial sweeteners and food coloring, right? And so those are not things that I usually, you know, use. But if you need to add, say, fresh lemon juice from squeezed in the water from a lemon, the juice of an orange squeezed in the water, maybe sliced cucumbers, maybe some mint leaves or other herb, you know, anything to give it a taste if you need to add taste to the water. But adding other things to the water is usually not going to be a good idea, because usually we're adding in additives that's going to be more toxic to the body than helpful. The rule of thumb for the amount of water is half your weight in ounces, all right? Or, you know, you may need to convert that if you go by kilos, but half your weight in ounces is the general rule of thumb that you should follow to take in enough water into the body. So water is essential. You can't avoid it. You can get it sometimes through herbs and such that you're drinking, if it's just herbal teas where you've not added a lot of sugar to it, but water is essential. So I think Dr. Wright is on now, but that's the discussion, and that rounds off the nutrient section. So we discussed all of the essential nutrients, and we'll pick up next week.
Yes, thank you very much, Nana Akua, for the wonderful lecture. I think if someone has a question, they can still drop it in the comment section, then we'll be able to share it with you. And also the ones that requested for the handouts, they can send you an email, then they will get it. And thank you very much. You're going to continue the classes with Dr. Tyreen Bright. Is Dr. Wright, can you hear us? You can unmute yourself.
Okay, yes, I hear you.
Yes.
Hold on 1 second and you'll see me. Okay, all right, thank you. Sorry, everyone. I actually had a little trouble getting in this morning, which is like rare, but on my side, something was going on. So thank you, Yvonne, for helping me with that. Welcome everyone to the Pan-African History and Organizing course. I will be essentially teaching you the history of Pan-Africanism in terms of the proponents, the history, the proponents, and the organizational expression. And we will end with the highest expression of Pan-Africanism on the continent of Africa as prospects for continental unity. So what I'm going to share in a few moments is just what the course consists of, and essentially the expectations or the learning outcomes for the course. My kittens are going wild here as I try to teach this course to do introductions. So one, I just want to say thank you for committing your time to work with I Love Black People and come through the ideological training course for ambassadors on Pan-African history and organizing. We've actually, you all are a very special class because you are our 21st class. We've been doing these Pan-African history classes, seminar, since the since, I'm gonna come off camera, but since April or May of 2020. And so we have had 20 cycles of this course, and you all are our 21st class to come through as ambassadors in the Pan-African History and Organizing seminar or course. So we appreciate you and your dedication to doing this. So I want to go right away. I'm going to go off camera one more time. I want to go right away to what the course consists of and its expectations. While I bring that up, I'm going to go off camera, but I'm going to keep talking. First and foremost, I wanted to say that the readings that we provide in the course are they are free to you, but they are not free. And that means that you should basically keep them and for your own recollection, for your own reference. They are indeed useful and they are timely. Some of them are historical documents. We will be using documents from the first Pan-African Conference and the first Pan-African Congresses. Also, we'll be using various documents that reflect speeches of our notable Pan-Africanists throughout history, Du Bois and others on the continent, Amilcar Cabral. And I teach, just so you all know, I actually teach this on the university level. And so, you know, this is always important to me that students know what they're getting, whether it's ambassadors within the I Love Black People or whether this is in real time in the university setting. And I will talk a little bit about who I am and stuff like that. But it's important that you know that the documents that you will get are something you should save, because I know some of you do this on your phone. I'm on my phone, even though I have my computer right here. So
going to put them
I think we need to mute somebody. Somebody is not on mute. It's important that you save the documents only because of the fact that if you go try to get them, they very likely will cost you some money in the future or right now. So we put them all in one place within the WhatsApp group that you all are a part of as people who are officially enrolled in the course, and you can access them at any time. So I would download them and store them so that you can use them for future reference. It's important enough, okay? And that being said, I try to teach the course in a way that appeals to multiple learners in the sense that we don't only read historical documents, speeches and alike, but we also use film. I generally start the course out with a film on the journey of man, a genetic odyssey, so we can center the conversation around humanity in the African context. And that's very important when we talk about, you know, African people, Black people. We need to understand that the human experience begins with us as African people. And so no one more than us have the right to walk this earth free of racism, sexism, xenophobia, all the isms that negate us, right? Man, woman, and child. And so I usually begin with a film that is the meeting of scientific theory with our age-old theory about the origins of humanity, meaning that humanity originating in Africa and then traveling to the four corners of the world. So that will be the first thing you watch. And I love teaching in an integrative way in the sense that, you know, everybody is not going to read, do a lot of reading from the outset, but sometimes if you have a film or you have a documentary that sort of defines what the issues are, then you are more apt to do the reading, because the reading hones in on some of the things that we may discuss. And so I take that approach very often. This first film, and let me just say this about this film that I'm going to share with you all today. I use this film in the university setting no matter what I teach, okay? No matter what I'm teaching. If I'm teaching African-American history, if I'm teaching world history, if I'm teaching research methods, if I'm teaching academic writing, it doesn't matter. If I'm teaching politics, political science, I always use this film, The Journey of Man, A Genetic Odyssey, first and foremost, because if you're going to talk about human beings at all, we need to know who is human first and foremost, right? If we're going to have a discourse around the human experience, and there's almost nothing that we can talk about that doesn't consist of a discussion around the human experience, right? Even if we're talking about technology, who's using technology, and what are we using technology for, and who is going to benefit from technology? Humans. And who is that, right? And so we want to center the conversation of the human struggle and center it in the African context, the Black context, first and foremost, okay? And so this is why I share the film. But the point is that I use this film in university, and I was teaching this course for a while, this seminar, and then thought to myself, why am I not sharing this with the ambassadors of I Love Black People, many of which are on the continent of Africa, when we meet, right? And so this is knowledge that you should have. Now, I always put a disclaimer on any film or anything that I share, which is that their views are not necessarily my views. I'm going to show you and tell you what we are utilizing the film for, meaning that our focus is to look at specifically this issue and that issue. And the film, The Journey of Man, A Genetic Odyssey, is really to examine and look at how the theory of the African origin of humanity meets the scientific technology of the scientific world through DNA, right? So this film looks at how that theory is engaged with the scientific capability of the day, which is DNA mapping. Okay, and so the geneticist in the film, who is not an African person, although he might argue about it if you get to the film, he might argue that he is, because humanity is African first and foremost. So, but the geneticist in the film goes around the world in essence and maps, takes DNA samples from various people. And we know, some of you already know, that the oldest people right now living on Earth are the Khoisan of Southern Africa, present-day Namibia. And you will see them in that film. So we are utilizing it for a very specific purpose. We can talk about and discuss, his flaws in terms of his shortcomings, because he does have them. But we are utilizing it. We are taking a very utilitarian approach to that particular documentary for the purpose of driving home the point to us, or affirming the point to us that we are in fact human, and we are the humans, and our story and our struggle is for us the most important struggle happening, or that has ever happened in our history, right? Meaning that our struggle is the human struggle, okay? So one, I'll say that. Two, I'm going to share many things in other films and other footage that will drive home some of the readings that I actually share. And hopefully you like them, but it's not even a point of liking them. It's more assessing the value in terms of our examination of Pan-Africanism and our struggle to advance Pan-Africanism and our current struggle to rid the world of racism and xenophobia as it relates to African people, okay? So I'm going to go to the course requirements, and you can ignore the little semester thing. I have to change that up, but the everything else is correct. So I'm going to share that now. Now this, I won't put in the WhatsApp group just yet. I'll make that one correction, but this is your syllabus that I will be going through right now. And just the learning outcomes and overview of the course, the major themes of the seminar will be presented now. You will receive all of this in your WhatsApp group, okay? I will share the syllabus, and I will share the first materials, that being the film and any other readings that we will have to accompany that, okay? So I'm gonna go off camera. We're supposed to do this in 30 minutes, but because I was late getting on here with the technology issue, I am not sure exactly. So I was supposed to come on 11:15. So I have roughly, I'll say I was 4 or 5 minutes late. So let's say I have, we're 20 minutes in, so I have another 10 minutes or so. So I will try to do this in a timely fashion. Okay, so come off camera, and can I have permission to share my screen, Yvonne?
You're allowed.
I have it? Okay, no
Yes.
problem. Okay, so I will be sharing my screen shortly. I just want to close a couple of things. I'm kind of, I don't want to say old fashioned, but I love doing these sessions on my phone because it allows me mobility, even though I seem to sit still the entire time. Okay, what is happening here? All right, here we go. Zoom changed a couple of things, I see. Okay, so this is the Pan-African History and Organizing Seminar, and I will read the course description to you, okay? And the course description reads, I'm reading it at the same time, so it's, it's small to me. An introduction to actually, let me turn this around. Here we go. Let's do it like this. Okay. So an introduction to Pan-African history and organizing is an ideological development course. And let me just say ideology is theory coupled with practice, right? So it is an ideological development course that surveys the history of Pan-Africanism as a theory and practice. The seminar is structurally designed to examine and engage in a critical analysis of the theories and practices of Pan-Africanism as both a political and ideological impetus for organizing African and Black people globally. This course begins with the historical foundations of Pan-Africanism at the turn of the century. While it is simply a budding concept in the African diaspora and the Americas, it becomes the impetus for international organizing in Europe, the first Pan-African Conference, 1900, and the Americas. It finds its highest expression on the African continent in liberation and revolutionary struggles against imperialism with the objective of continental unity. Many have questioned the measurable results produced by Pan-Africanism. This course explores this idea and qualifies the practice and production of Pan-Africanism, considering measurable social, political, economic, and material gains for African and Black people globally by examining policy cases, conference resolutions, and various approaches employed by early proponents of Pan-Africanism, African nationalist organizational bodies, and institutions. So learning outcomes. So in other words, what I expect or you should expect to learn from this course and seminar is a working definition of Pan-Africanism. And I think a lot of people, that might stump them because I think that the history of Pan-Africanism is not necessarily well known. The term is used very loosely, but here you will learn the working definition of Pan-Africanism, and you will get the specific history. So knowledge of its history, development, and emergence as an ideology, theory, and practice in the world. The ability to identify and qualify Pan-Africanist thought, speech, and action across various technological mediums, social media platforms, virtual realities, and brick and mortar spaces. What does that mean? That means that you will be able to detect whether or not very easily, almost instantaneously, whether or not something is Pan-Africanist in nature. There's a very simple way to do that, and I will teach you how to assess things in that fashion. The ability to qualify whether policies, legislation, organizational initiatives, and or general practices are Pan-Africanist in nature and beneficial to African and Black people. The ability to identify imperialism, colonialism, neocolonialism as oppressive and exploitative systems as they have manifested throughout the African world, Africa and its diasporas. The means and methods through which African and Black people have organized, fought, resisted, and liberated themselves and nations from imperialism, colonialism, and the ways in which neocolonialism is currently being resisted. The role of Pan-Africanism as a primary strategy and tactic in the effort to eliminate racism and xenophobia. The ability to differentiate multiple perspectives through an analysis of different case studies built on measured, evidence-based arguments and research essays. The ability to apply the knowledge acquired in this seminar to the active role and responsibility as ambassadors of I Love Black people in eradicating racism and xenophobia. The ability to qualify everything before declaring it substantial or beneficial to African and Black people locally and globally. 10, and finally, develop a measurable results. Sorry, guys, somebody's coming to the course. Develop a measurable results orientation regarding business practices and services, policy and political agendas, legislative initiatives, organizational efforts, and institutional practices. Okay, so the seminar themes are, so let me just go back. So those are the things that, those are the expected learning outcomes. Those are that's the body of knowledge and information you should have at your disposal at the end of the seminar. Okay. And then the seminar themes are: 1, Pan-Africanism, unity as a primary organizing tool, weapon, strategy for eradicating racism and xenophobia against African and Black people. 2, the historical role, importance of using dialectical conversing discourse sharing relationship between African and Black people globally as an effective strategy and tactic in combating white supremacy, racism, and xenophobia, which is a global pandemic. And so let me just say this, we are engaging that right now, one of the seminar themes, which is to have a dialectical relationship, a discourse about our condition, our reality, and our collective struggle globally, okay? And 3, synthesizing an application of Pan-Africanist thought, speech, and action in everyday scenarios and challenges. 4, the role of education, specifically history, in eliminating ignorance, divisiveness, propaganda, and individualism amongst African and Black people in an effort to achieve Pan-Africanism unity. 5, global Pan-Africanism, the unification of African people for the purpose of eradicating exploitation and oppression. Racism is a direct solution to the condition of, administrator, can you, Yvonne, can you, or Ward, can you let that person in? It keeps popping up. Okay, is a direct solution to the condition of African and Black people. Okay, so I'm not going to get into the readings just yet, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be changing actually the readings for this course, in the sense that I'll be adding to it the role of women in the struggle against imperialism and colonialism on the continent of Africa, and some of the strategies and tactics employed there, but also understanding the role of liberation and the role of women in that, because it's not a separate struggle. Part of what happens with us as we are colonized is that we start to express cultures and that are not our own, right? And so part of this whole patriarchal, misogynistic wave that we actually see going on has a lot to do with having been colonized by Europeans who are patriarchal and patrilineal. And that is not the history of Africa. I have a great father, elder, intellectual who wanted to remind me that all of Africa is not matriarchal and matrilineal. And I said, certainly, but you know what? All of Europe is patriarchal and patrilineal in absolute terms, okay? They can never even state a claim to matriarchy or matrilineal societies, matriarchal or matrilineal societies. Africa has the diversity as far as that's concerned. And we can see this even in the context of our liberation struggles. Some of you have all, seen the woman king and this and that and all that kind of stuff. Well, you can learn a little bit about that, the true history of some of that, as we understand that African women have been the freest, the most progressive, and the progenitors of leadership in the ancient world, even before we get to the modern world, okay? And so we don't need really a film to tell us that, but the films sort of those films waken people's consciousness. And then if we happen to be fortunate to be in a course and committed to dedicating your time to an organization like this, you should get that information. So whether that's Makeda in the ancient world, or the Kendakes, or Hatshepsut, or the women in Ghana who fought the Ashanti Wars, or Ya Asantewaa, or Nzinga. Listen, we can go on and on and on of all the great African women who actually fought colonialism as it's trying to penetrate the continent of Africa and its societies. And then likewise, when we get into the Americas and the diaspora. And so this is not a separate part of the struggle, it's very much a part of it. So I will be adding that to the course so that we don't feel like we have to get this information somewhere else. It is part of the same unified struggle. And we should know. We don't need to know everybody else's story, but we definitely have a responsibility to know who we are. Okay? And so I will be adding that to the course and revising the syllabus. So you will see that on Monday, every Monday, all the readings go up for the current week. And then we will meet on the Saturday and you will have a lecture. And then of course, I always try to do Q&A. Sometimes I'm long-winded, but I've been getting better at it, shortening my commentary. Who is that? Like, I don't know. Somebody like, I don't know if she's shortening it, but I'm working on it. Okay, I'm paying attention. It's 11:48. I'm 3 minutes over, but I started about 4 minutes late. So that means I have like really 1 more minute. That being said, if you have any questions, comments, you can drop them in the chat. Thank you once again for dedicating your time to working with I Love Black People, to educating and elevating yourselves. And I am because we are. So I'm in there, but you can talk to me in the chat briefly if you have any questions and comments about the course or the nature of the course. I usually will post the film that I'm going to use when I have a film before Monday, so I'll probably post that shortly. But as of Monday, then you'll have all the official readings and, you read them in the context of the week. And, I peek in the conversation, but I don't interrupt. So once you read the readings or engage the film, you can comment in the WhatsApp group and share your thoughts or any questions that you have. Listen, the group always keeps a lively discussion going on without me. I just sort of like look and, you know, peruse, and sometimes I take some of the discourse and add it to my lecture and try to address some issues that I might see emerging with the materials and in terms of people engaging in materials. But that's pretty, you know, much how it works, okay? So I don't see any question, comments, problems, or issues. So I'm going to leave it there and say, once again, thank you for your time and committing your time to this. Let me see. Now I see my sister, Natalia. Yes, she's always here. She's a faithful warrior. You understand? She is faithful and consistent, and that's wonderful. So she's consistent all the time. So thank you all once again for joining us, and I will see you in the WhatsApp group. Okay, I am because we are. Peace.
I am because we are. Thank you so much, Adugatari, right, for a wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
For the introduction to the lecture. We appreciate you. We'll make sure that
Thank
we add
you.
one more group so that they can receive the updated syllabus and also reading materials. We do appreciate you. And everyone on here, we appreciate you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and stay safe at this festive season. And also make sure that you protect yourself from COVID. It's still around us. Stay safe, love and peace. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.